Coolin Lucy, 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 Coolin Lucy. Back in time, there was a girl I know. Her name was Coolin Lucy, who was standing in the snow. She was the girl who lived next to me. She was the girl hiding in my tree. 'Cause people say she was a fool by doing crazy things out of the blue. But I know that wasn't true. 'Cause what they didn't know, her heart was broken in two. Coolin Lucy, 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 Coolin Lucy. But after days has went by, she started to call my house every day and night. And every time that she calls me, who would have thought that she would be interested in me? 'Cause to me, she became the girl of my dreams. As I tell everyone, she's American queen. And as I did, a friend came to me who told me Coolin Lucy wasn't one for me. And when he did, I wasn't shocked. And suddenly Coolin Lucy came and punched him in his heart. And when she did, she turns to me and she told me that my friend is jealous of you dating me. Then I said, oh really? 'Cause you're the prettiest girl I've ever seen. So tell me, baby, why you fight for me? And she tells me she don't want to see me bleed. 'Cause if I do, she'll feel my pain. Once she felt something so strange. 'Cause inside her heart was the love she got. As I tell Coolin Lucy, I love her a lot. Coolin Lucy, Coolin Lucy, Coolin Lucy, Coolin Lucy, Coolin Lucy, Coolin Lucy. But as time moved on from the past, she became a famous girl to make me laugh. And when I laugh, I will cry. But she tells me everything's gonna be alright. And as she did, she came and hugged me. As I tell Coolin Lucy, you are truly the one for me. So she touched my heart and she kissed me. As I tell her to come in my dreams. And when you do, I know you care for me. And she tells me you're an angel to me. 'Cause where you go, I'll be there for you. Who would have thought she got my heart going fool? Coolin Lucy, 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 Coolin Lucy. To another time, to another place. She got an amazing life, so what can I say? 'Cause inside her life, she's like amazing grace. But then again, it was a mistake. 'Cause she used to be looking at the wall. 'Cause she had so much rage when this one else to call. 'Cause the reason why she didn't have no love, 'cause there was nobody around to cheer her up. But then again, there was someone, and suddenly she became in love. And when she did, I found out the person was me. And she started to name herself Coolin Lucy, 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 Coolin Lucy. But as a new day came today, everybody started to call out her name, and when they did, the world started to change as Coolin Lucy became the American maid. And as she did, Sunday she says to me, she wanted to end every war to live in peace. Then I told her, if you do, we all will be free. Thanks to Coolin Lucy to say I love you. Coolin Lucy, 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 Coolin Lucy. So right now, it's time to tell you what I know. Coolin Lucy was the girl I used to know. 'Cause inside my life, as I started to cry, Coolin Lucy told me it's time for her to die. But then again, I tried to ask her why. And suddenly I see her tears fell from her eyes, and as I did, I told her I'm in love with you. As Coolin Lucy tell me she loves me too. But know what was said and done. I created this story poem to talk about her love, 'cause I know I see her standing in the snow. Coolin Lucy was a cool girl to know. Coolin Lucy, 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 Coolin Lucy.